Fashion tip from you.
D. Wood, Stephen A's tie's so wide, it looks like he got a hanging 4x4 from his neck right here. Look, that tie's like 4 inches wide, man.
You got these. Now last week you had the elephant trunk tie. Before was the elephant tie. I fixed that. But now you trying. It ain't working.
How wide your tie is.
Let's move on. Please. Fashion tips from you two? Please.
Look like you got a hanging 4x4 right here.
Whatever. I'm going to roll up my sleeves for y'all from this time on. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go, Green Lantern. Let's go.
Oh, my goodness. I hate when he slows it down, and then he's like, let's go. Like it's me, and you've just been talking for 5 minutes. Welcome to my life, America, okay?
Never that.
Will Dak miss Amari Cooper more? Why am I looking at them? I'm asking this to you.
Yeah.
Do you think Dak's going to miss Amari more, or do you think Brady will miss Gronk more?
You know, I'm going to go with Brady's going to miss Gronk more.
Okay.
And I know you guys put the stat out that, Brady was 4-1. I think when I look at Gronk and first of all, the trust that, him and Brady had, obviously that time together in New England. Yep. And I think where that comes into play is when everything else kind of falters, when everything else breaks down, he's the guy that Brady's going to look to. In the middle of the field, controlling the middle of the field. In the red zone, where you have that big body presence in the red zone. And I just think when you don't have that type of presence, when I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay, who's going to, we don't know who's going to control the middle of the field. They got the weapons, they got the wide receivers on the outside, and I know Chris Godwin is coming back off the ACL, and he's going to be another piece of the puzzle. But I just think that trust factor that Gronk and Brady have built over their time together, whether it's New England and Tampa, that's going to be hard to replicate by whoever it is on the Tampa Bay Bucs roster.
And they're tight too.
Correct.
Yeah,
no
so
question.
You're not having your boy. Stephen A.
Listen, here's where I'm at with this. All right. Gronk is Gronk. And he's a once-in-a-lifetime kind of tight end. We all know how spectacular he is. He's going in the Hall of Fame someday. And we understand the close relationship that he and Brady had. And certainly I don't anticipate that anybody will equal that. But last time I checked, Cameron Brate has been in the National Football League for 8 years. All 8 of those years were for Tampa Bay. He's a good player who Tom Brady is familiar with because the 2 seasons that Tom Brady has been in there, he's not new. He's a familiar weapon. Because remember, Gronk is somebody that you relied upon in clutch situations, big games, et cetera, and I got that. And Cameron Brate's got some things to prove, but he's no scrub. And he's been around in that system with that personnel his entire career, which means he's been a familiar face to Tom Brady. That's number one. Number 2, Kyle Rudolph is no scrub. Okay, he ain't what he used to be in Minnesota before he went to the New York Giants, but he's no scrub. So you got those 2 there going on. I'm going to tell you that Dak Prescott is going to miss Amari Cooper more because Gronk had gotten older. Gronk is there for you, but not somebody that you were throwing a ball to 10, 12, 15 times a game or anything like that. You got a guy in Amari Cooper, had a down year last year, but the 2 previous years had a 1,000-plus yard season. He was a number 1 receiver, a primary target, even though for last year it was CeeDee Lamb that led them in receptions in Dallas. In the end, when you think about Amari Cooper, what you get for him? You traded him for a 5th-round pick and the right to swap 6th-round picks, okay? Which ended up equating to you trading him for some damn tackle out of North Dakota State that we never heard of. We'll see what that materializes into. Amari Cooper is no scrub. The brother can ball. And when you take that into account, along with the fact that Michael Gallup is expected to be out for at least the first month, if not more, because of the injury he sustained, the fact that Cedric Wilson already went to Miami as well, then everything is about CeeDee Lamb, who's being a number 1 receiver as a number 1 primary target to defend against for the first time in his career. I think that's an adjustment, particularly when you could take into consideration the fact that Ezekiel Elliott has had less carries over the last 2 years. People think there's been some slippage. They're wondering how much more of Tony Pollard are we going to see. And you've got Kellen Moore as your offensive coordinator, even though you were the number 1 attack in points and yards accumulated, and you had the number 2 passing attack. The reality is that you have to look at all of those question marks, those things that they're going to have to deal with, Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott. And I say that's going to be a strong adjustment, more so for Dak Prescott without Cooper Kupp than it's going to be for Tom Brady without Rob Gronkowski.
It's Gronk. I mean, one's a Hall of Famer.
I said that.
One's a Hall of Famer One isn't. One has a person that was a first-round pick to replace him. One doesn't. CeeDee Lamb was taken for the eventual move of them going away from Amari Cooper and thrusting him into that. Tampa Bay does not have someone that they're going to. Yes, they have a 10 or 12-year veteran, Kyle Rudolph, and an 8-year veteran, Cameron Brate. But the statistic that matters the most, since Tom Brady's gone to Tampa Bay and Gronk on the field, he has 48 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the red zone. If we think that Amari Cooper's absence in Dallas is going to be felt more than that in Tampa Bay, we're kidding ourselves. This is a big – go back to week 1 of last year. If you take the quarterback away on offense in Tampa Bay, there's 10 other players. 50% of that roster is not there week 1 for Tampa Bay. And the most important part of that is the fact that their Hall of Fame tight end is no longer there. Wood touched on the trust. It's not only that, it's the information that they gathered off Rob Gronkowski. It was, go back to the game last year they played in week 1. Late in the game, Tom Brady makes a random check at the line of scrimmage to bluff a fake all-out screen, and Gronk leads. He ain't making that check to Cam Brate. He ain't making that check to Kyle Rudolph because they don't have 15 years of experience together. This is a big loss for Tampa Bay. And for us to think that we're, like no big deal, we're kidding ourselves.
I'm not saying, see, there you go again. You're trying to switch it up. I'm too skilled for that, my brother. I didn't say it wasn't a big deal. What I'm saying to you is this. No disrespect whatsoever. Everything you say about Gronk, I agree with. But this ain't Jameis Winston that's losing Rob Gronkowski. This ain't some young quarterback that's losing. This is Tom Brady. And even though that's been a reliable weapon, now, Woody, you won Super Bowls with this man. Dan Orlovsky, you've revered this man his entire career. 84,000 plus yards, the all-time leader in yards thrown, completions, touchdowns, Super Bowl championships. All of those things were not to Rob Gronkowski. I'm saying to you, your point is incredibly more valid. If I'm not talking about Tom Brady having to figure it out, but because it's Tom Brady that we're talking about here, with the weapons that they have available to them, with them being familiar targets. Mike Evans has been there before with Tom Brady. Chris Godwin has been there before with Tom Brady. Leonard Fournette has been there before with Tom Brady. Julio Jones hasn't been, but damn it, he's in heaven because he's got Tom Brady throwing him the football instead of Ryan Tannehill. So all of those things taken into consideration, with the tight ends being familiar, and juxtapose that or compare that to the Dallas Cowboys, who were having trouble, particularly in key situations, all right? And now you lose your number 1 receiver. You got Cedric Wilson gone. You got Ezekiel Elliott. You don't know what he's going to give you anymore. You got James Washington, who came over from Pittsburgh. I mean, damn. It's not beyond the realm of comprehension for me to say this.
Let's get Damian back in here. Obviously, you played with Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Stephen A. is coming from the position of, okay, Amari Cooper not being there, combined with the fact that, the Michael Gallup injury and all the, and I understand that, I get that. But there are so many times last year, particularly last year with the Dallas Cowboys, where Amari Cooper just disappeared. Like you couldn't find Amari Cooper on the back of a milk carton, for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just saying that with Rob Gronkowski, the level of trust that Tom Brady had with him on the field, especially in particular situations, middle of the field, red zone. Yeah. That's when it really counts in the red zone, when you're trying to run all those things. For sure. Not having him there I think that's going to be a big deal.
Absolutely. Can we just look at the headshots, by the way? This is hilarious. Everyone has a uniform on, and then Gronk looks like he's ready to go to a luau. That's the picture that we chose. On brand, just living his best life. I'm jealous.
It sort of reminds me of all of us working and Molly hanging in South Beach. I'm just saying.
Hey, man.
I went to.
Wasn't Stephen A. the one? He did go to South Beach, right?
Yes, she did.
With my nephews. There's picture evidence. Like, he loves to bring up the
America.
one time.
America.
And first of all,
America.
hold on. I wasn't even in South Beach. I was in Coral Gables. So slow your roll.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. It's 15 minutes away. It's 15 minutes away. My bad,
Dan,
y'all.
you're 5 years
far be
old.
it for me. Far be it for me. Coral Gables, where they got the palm trees in South Beach now. All right? I mean, come on now. That's right there. Doing it in the spy who shagged me. All right, Austin Powers. Go ahead, say that, Molly. Real, please. Spare me. And by the way, when she told us she was in Coral Gables, she never said anything about nephews. She said, I was in Miami.
Interesting.
Those were her
Oh, my
words.